TMI. Confessionals of the Nerd Kind. And now, your hosts, Jeff Nerfherder Chandler and Jim Kaiju Baker.
Got it. I have approved.
So let me ask you, are you Team Monarch or Team Apex?
The go-to answer is obviously Monarch.
Welcome, everyone. We're talking Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, Season 2 this week.
Available only on Apple Plus.
Yes. So hopefully, if you are a fan of Godzilla, the Godzilla-verse, you've got Apple Plus. I subscribe to Apple Plus specifically for this
show. Yeah.
And now we are going to get another, like a prequel, I guess, that they just greenlit. That's going to exclusively feature Wyatt Russell's character of Lee Shaw in his younger days.
I was hoping that it would have been Billy. But no, we're getting Wyatt.
Bring this back around to my Monarch Apex point. Apex, as we know, built Mechagodzilla.
Yes, Tywin Lannister.
Since he kidnapped one of the severed heads of King Ghidorah from King of the Monsters, he
now
sold
you are
that
getting
off.
ahead of yourself because that doesn't happen. We're in between those movies.
Well, that's what's so fascinating about this, is that this is like retrofitting into the Monsterverse that, you know, has movies that's already years old, but yet the events of this show take place smack dab in the middle of those movies.
And that's what's semi-confusing about some of it, because season 1, there's a fair amount of time jumping, and we're right back. I mean, this new season picks up exactly where the last season ended. So that's good. And I do believe that you went back and rewatched season 1.
I did not. No.
You did not.
I did not.
Oh, I was relying on you to give me a refresher course. I had to go episode, because I watched this just for the sake of watching it. This is one of the few shows that I actually get to sit down and enjoy, not for this podcast, with my son, and we watch it every week. And then the last episode dropped. He's busy. We decided we're going to cover this, and all of a sudden I'm like, guess what, buddy? I'm watching this without you. And he was not too happy.
And my question before to you was kind of asinine, because Apex is clearly the bad guy here in this show.
But you have to, well, we'll get into it, but like, what is Isabel's true motivation? And more
we don't know yet.
What the hell is Kentaro up to?
We just know that because she is Apex, she is probably lying. So let's just take it as it is from that point of view.
So before we get into this, I just want to point out, anybody who has not listened to the show and you're brand new and you love this, you're like, oh, these guys are talking Monarch, I'm going to jump in. We did cover season 1 back in episode 308. So go back into our vast library and you can listen to that. But more importantly, like, the name of the podcast is TMI. Television is right there, the first word. And yet, when's the last time we covered any kind of television show?
Because we would have to do such a deep dive. We did the Mando seasons 1 and 2 episode by episode.
Episode by episode. We loved it. I don't think anybody else did.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that these were these episodes lit the world on fire once they were dropped.
No, and it's, you know, we bonded over weekly get-togethers talking about Lost back when it was not, I mean, listen, the internet was out there, but it wasn't to the extent where you could go and listen to vast episodes where people talked about each episode. We had to kind of take that on ourselves, and that's where this podcast kind of came from.
Yeah.
So
but this is a Godzilla show. So again, the sole reason I subscribe to Apple. We cannot let this go by without talking at length about a Godzilla show.
Yeah, if only he had shown up. I think it's false advertising.
Well, they really don't have Godzilla in the title, so that's arguable.
No, but he's in all the promotional. Don't even try to give them.
It wasn't. I knew because once they teased Kong at the very end of season 1 that this was going to be a Kong-centric season, because Godzilla and Kong can't meet until Godzilla versus Kong.
But this goes back to your point, which is they're filling in the gaps. We know. So this takes place in between Godzilla 2014, which in this universe is referred to as G-Day. And one of the main characters, Kate, is traumatized by this event of Godzilla attacking the Golden Gate Bridge. And she was a bus driver and lost that.
No, she was a teacher that was on the bus with her students.
Okay, but anyways, the school bus goes over, all these kids die. She feels immense guilt that somehow she brought this about, that she couldn't do to save these kids. But it takes place in between that movie and King of the Monsters.
And let me just point out that Godzilla did not purposely destroy the Golden Gate Bridge. He was just getting from point A to point B, and it just happened to be in his way.
You're like a Godzilla apologist over here now. Yeah, I didn't mean to step on that anthill. I was just going from my house to the car. Yes, no, he was not being malicious. But damage, wherever this guy goes, shit happens.
He had to save the world from the Mutos, if you remember.
Yeah, they were scary.
Peripheral damage was done, and now Kate is, I would say that she is the main character of this show, seasons 1 and 2.
Yes. The trio of Keiko, Lee, and Billy, to me, were kind of like Mulder and Scully in the first season. They are the founders. They are the genesis of Monarch.
Well, more like the Darren McGavin character from X-Files, right?
Okay. Well, yeah.
Because again, now, not to get ahead of ourselves, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I really liked there was a nice X-Files kind of tie-in at the very end of season 2, which we'll get to.
There's some weird stuff going on. Yeah, no, I can see that. Let's get back to Kate for 1 second, because I do think that she is kind of the one character that a lot of these that you as a viewer connect with.
As you said at the very beginning of season 1, we get the flashback of G-Day and her on the bridge, and that informs her character right up until where we are now at the end of season 2.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There's one part in this season where she breaks ranks with her friends, goes back, finds her mother, who assumes that she was dead, and then goes on some sex-fueled bender.
Briefly.
She felt so guilty about.
Yeah, she fell into the Matrix and was in the rave for a little bit, and then she's like, "This sucks."
You must have been raging against that rave. I will. Here's what I'm going to say about Kate. Kate is a cutie, and she makes my trouser tighten tingle.
Wow.
Mic drop.
Anna Sawai. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of her name.
Right now, outside of Wyatt and Kurt, I didn't write down a single actor's name.
But she is also getting huge plaudits for the show Shogun, which I've never seen, but now I want to.
Well, I didn't even realize Isabel was Amber Midthunder from Prey.
You're kidding me. I knew that I recognized her.
You didn't pass it. Only when I started doing research, I'm like, oh, crap, that's her.
Wow.
I wish I'd given her more to do, because
I wish I knew
not
that.
a likable character.
I wish I knew that.
Yeah, I got to go back and rewatch that.
I didn't watch season 1 again, but in season 1, just as a really brief, we were introduced to Lee Shaw, the young Lee Shaw, played by Wyatt Russell. He is hired as a security escort for Kiko. Okay,
you're going Kiko or Keiko?
Keiko?
This is the one thing that drives me nuts. We have a Kate and a Keiko, and he calls her K. So it's kind of confusing at certain times. And then you have Apex and Axis. And I'm like, come on, can't we just come up with a... Yeah, so and everyone's last name is Randa.
So Lee is military, and he's hired to be security for Keiko Mura, a scientist who investigates monsters. And on their first mission, they come across Billy Randa, who we know as John Goodman from Skull Island, King Kong Skull Island.
And this is interesting because whenever I have these conversations with people who are watching this show, there's a fair amount of people who don't make that connection.
In the background, so this is taking place in the past, and then in the future, we have Kate, who's getting over her horrendous experience of G-Day, and her father had disappeared, who worked for Monarch, and she finds out that he had another family on the side, and she has a brother that she never knew about.
Kentaro. And I have issues with this father.
It's still not
Hiroshi,
completely
Hiroshi.
explained. It's just like I followed my heart. I'm like, well, is that
And
really
then,
a good enough
but
excuse?
then later we're going to get all over the place on this, but some of these motivations, this is the one thing I'm going to say about this season. It is very heavy on the melodrama. It is bordering on young adult angst.
Soap opera.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the problem is you tease us with this monster stuff. Like you get that Godzilla, like you were saying, you tease Kong at the end of season 1, and first episode of this season, Kong, boom, he's on a tear. He's just ripping up this base. He's going nuts. There's these little stupid scarab bugs running around everywhere. And that's what you want. That's what sold us, the idea that, what is it like for humans to exist in a world where these giant things that just run amok, and what kind of damage they can cause? Because San Francisco, you see this, San Francisco is yet to recover from G-Day.
Because it's only 3 years out from G-Day when this takes place, when this season 2 takes place.
So like the bridge is still destroyed. The city itself is like cordoned off.
And we're still 2 years before King of the Monsters.
Right. But I think they do a pretty good job of trying to fill in these blanks of, we're going to shoehorn this stuff in between and just say, yep, just trust us because we're going to tie it all up. And I think for the most part, they did.
You have to give them some license, because when they made Godzilla 2014 and King of the Monsters, and even Godzilla versus Kong, they're not thinking of this stuff. So I'm sure you could poke holes in it if you wanted to all day long.
Oh, yeah, no, you can. And there's an episode in here I had a huge problem with.
But the other big point to go over before we just get into season 2 proper is Axis Mundi, which was never introduced before in the movies. It's new to this series, and it's somehow a gateway in between regular Earth and the Hollow Earth.
Right. This is not Hollow Earth, which is where we found all these Titans existing.
And there's access points all over the globe into Axis Mundi. But I never was quite understanding, was there access points between Axis Mundi and Hollow Earth? Because you never see that.
You never see that.
No.
Would have to assume, especially when you get into Kong Godzilla.
Yes, and for the budget of this show, helpfully, Axis Mundi is a forest. So it's not like the giant journey to the center of the earth that is Hollow Earth. So it doesn't give a lot of budget away, Axis Mundi.
But sure, you're going to say that all for your monsters. At least
that's the problem with a show like this, is that a 10-episode arc, you have to peter out your special effects. So there's going to be episodes with nothing but melodrama.
Yeah, and flashbacks.
Yeah,
to pre-existing footage.
I mean, we even got that in shows like Galactica. This is going to be a boring episode.
I mean, back then that was almost $1 million an episode. Whatever, for whatever reason, this Axis Mundi exists, and it's like Interstellar. You go to another planet in 5 minutes there equals 5 years here. I mean, I don't think it's quite that, but there's a time difference because we've had multiple characters who get stuck in this Axis Mundi, including Kate and Lee. And at one point, even Hiroshi tells Kentaro that he was trapped in there for a bit.
Yeah. Of course, Keiko is the longest in there. So right off the bat, when season 1 ends, they get Kate out of Axis Mundi. And you find out that they've been trying to get her out for 2 years, and she's only been in there for like 10 minutes to her.
Right.
So they get her out, and they're on Skull Island with Apex and Monarch working together. Kong is very upset when they pull Kate out, and he doesn't appear to want any of the humans there, which is odd because Kong is pretty chill in
this is
Kong versus Godzilla.
This is still Skull Island Kong, with the red eyes, and so that takes place in like the 60s, like maybe 69?
In the 70s.
72, maybe you're right, yeah.
Like you said, Kong, at the very beginning of episode 1, season 2, he is like throwing stuff at Monarch, he's smashing people, he's killing people on screen.
There's body counts in there.
Yeah. So you find out a little bit later that he is irritated, maybe that they're opening, closing Axis Mundi all the time.
Yeah,
And that now that they've let loose another Titan.
Open and the cat got out. Now I got to go chase the cat in the yard. Do you know how hard it is to get a cat back in? Yeah.
Because Kong is pretty much the king of Skull Island, and he's got to maintain the order there. And
so he's the gatekeeper.
These people are messing everything up.
So yeah, he's not too happy with these people. So they rescue. Hold on, just bear with me. So they open the portal. They find Keiko, get her in the pod to bring her back out, but then Lee gets stuck behind. So now he's trapped again. Older Lee,
Kurt
Russell Lee. So now they get Keiko out, and immediately Kate is like, "We got to go back for him." So they open the rift again, and out comes Titan X, this giant squid-looking thing, and that's what really pisses Kong off.
Yes, and it kind of it seemed to me like a way to bring in Biollante without calling it Biollante.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they just leaned into that, but clearly Legendary is doing their own, and they keep doing that. I'm seeing teasers for season 3, and they're already talking about, possibly bringing in, maybe they're going to bring in this character. No, you're just going to create some other character and name it something else, and it's going to look just like that. There's a scene where they're in the helicopter, and Kong shoots them such a look like, you get off my island, man. He was not happy. Monarch is now run by this guy, Tim, because his boss was killed last season.
But no, she was killed in episode 1 here by Titan X. Right. Okay. She got flattened by a tentacle when it came out of the void.
Yeah, so you're right. This thing on paper does look a lot like Biollante. It's more squid-like than it is plant-like. It's Audrey 2.
Good call.
The little babies.
So they end up saving Kurt Russell. So great. He's now on board for the rest of this season. So they bring him out of Axis Mundi. And then we get immediately another flashback to the late 50s where we have young Lee, we have Keiko, and we have Billy that are, where were they? South America, I believe?
It was some island called Santa Soledad. And we're not really told where it was. I'm assuming somewhere in like the Pacific Northwest, because they do tend to travel around, these people.
They're constantly on the hunt, looking after reports of monsters. Yeah.
And Billy's got little books. He's got his little notepad journal. He's keeping meticulous. But these sea villagers revere this thing as a god.
The reason being is that when it comes, like, it drops all the fish. It brings all the fish.
Scarab bugs.
Those trilobite things.
Which I assume were its offspring.
I don't know, because it had an egg, which was different from those things.
Yeah, which didn't make sense. Because you know what they remind me of? And I think it was Godzilla 85, where they found a giant louse that fell off Godzilla. That's what it looked like.
Maybe they were just like its cleaners. Like that was its car wash kind of a thing.
But again, we see pretty quickly this thing is like, he's got bioluminescent horns that turned red when it was angry. And yet then it would turn blue when these things came back to it. So I was like, I got the impression that they were offspring. But you're right. When you get later in the season, all of a sudden there's a giant egg. This thing's laying an egg in the sand like a sea turtle. But yeah, these villagers didn't want these interlopers there.
No, they did not. They were threatened death a few times. And but did they leave? No. And of course, Billy
let's go to that abandoned cabin and have sex.
Yeah, Billy does the absolute worst thing. He is just like clueless male.
Where did he go?
I'm just going to leave my girlfriend with the most handsome man that is around.
Just the three of us.
Nothing happens.
I'm just going to sit here at the chair. He's like a cuck at this point. It's like, come on, Billy. I will say this season, whenever Billy's not around, suffers. Because you're left with all this other drama. Billy, to me, is the most interesting character here. He is Fox Mulder, and boy, Keiko, he's my man until he's not.
So they're tracking the sea serpent, which shows up after Billy leaves, of course, because he's
sea serpent.
He's saying, it's got a migratory route, so I think I can catch up to it. But he leaves before it gets to that point in its migratory route.
Right. I'm going to jump ahead and yeah. And this is what happens throughout this season. Something will happen, and then you have a flashback that fleshes it out, and it's like, oh, they've experienced this before. This is why this is doing that. So the flashbacks are doing a lot of the heavy lifting here.
Yeah, as you said, filling in what this Titan X is,
Right.
And giving you the backstory when the characters don't necessarily have it themselves. Episode 2 of Monarch goes to present day, where now they have Titan X on the loose in modern times, and the Monarch ship is chasing it. And it is going right towards like a naval kind of blockade, if you will.
How'd that work out?
And Monarch is trying to steer it away from the blockade, and they finally figure out how to do so with sonar. But the thing is, even very early on in this season, is that it's never clear and it's never obvious that Titan X is a threat of any kind.
No, you just see a giant monster on the loose, and you're like, oh crap! Now we got to go kill it.
It doesn't aggressively kill the boats. It doesn't aggressively kill.
It did eat a boat.
It did take down a Monarch boat at one point.
I'd be more
later
concerned
in the
about
season.
Kong running around stomping on people.
But it's pretty benign otherwise, and so
Yeah,
it's
it's a
not
knee
showing
jerk.
its threat. So it's kind of like Shimu in Godzilla X Kong, where you just feel bad for it. So you don't
yes.
want Godzilla or Kong to fight this thing because it's just a mother. So I would have loved to have had a bigger threat as the big bad in the but that's just
because it's not really a big, like you said, it's Apex. You got to worry more about them because they wanted to weaponize it.
Yeah.
Let's just turn it into a weapon. So Keiko comes back, and Tim immediately is like, oh, you can take over. It's like, I've been trapped in this realm for 30 years. Now you want me to take over this entire organization? No thanks.
And it's weird because they never, as we were talking about these trilobites, these scarab bugs, whenever Titan X reaches one of its migratory points, all the bugs burst out of the ground at that point and join it.
Just been like they're like cicadas. They're like underground, just waiting for this thing to show up.
Are they maybe calling it to its migratory path, through its path? I don't know.
We don't know. We should have asked Kate since she was talking with it.
Yeah.
But in between, we got all this drama because Hiroshi he finds out that his mother had this little affair with Lee because she wrote a letter and then he kept it. You don't commit that stuff to paper. You say it and then you move on. You burn it, you eat it, you eat that note, and you never let it be seen. But no, he kept it in his files. And then Hiroshi, like you just said before, he had 2 families. He has 2 different children from 2 different moms. And yet he's so judgmental about his mom loving these 2 men. I'm like, you hypocritical piece of crap.
This is kind of what forces me to say that not a lot of these characters are likable because of their actions when they would have been otherwise. Keiko is guilty of, 2-timing Billy.
The minute he leaves. Like, they didn't wait very long. Yeah, let's consummate this. Let's get it out of the way. This is Sam and Diane right here. We got some pent up aggression. Let's take it out.
And then, as you said, her son, Hiroshi, has 2 wives. And the only reason that he does is he didn't say no to his heart. He says something stupid like that.
Right. Okay. How about you say no to taking your pants off?
He didn't say no to his loins either. It's like...
right. Once his pants are off, yes. No. And he was not a likable character to begin with because you could tell the kids are like, well, what's going on with dad?
Yeah.
He's got something going on. Backstory of Billy was raising him, Hiroshi, and then he had left him.
So really, in the end, the only true purpose of this whole Hiroshi 2 families thing is to get the characters of Kate and Kentaro together. It's just a reason for them to, although they could have easily done it if they were just siblings anyway, without the 2 families.
No, without the extra drama, the layer that, the mom and the son both had loyalty issues.
We're skating around Apex at this time as well because Apex have boarded the Monarch ship. And now, as we said, probably the only likable character in here, Tim, who has been given the reins because the director of Monarch on the ship has died at the tentacles of Titan X, is now being pushed aside by Apex, who, because of their government tie-ins and contracts, have been allowed to come and work with Monarch in tracking Titan X. But of course, they have their own agenda in doing so.
Ooh, secret government.
And they're taking advantage of Monarch to get their means across.
Does Tim answer to anybody? Like, there's got to be a larger Monarch.
Well, yeah, there's the director he was answering to, like at the end of the show. The guy that keeps yelling at him over the screen.
When they gave the office. But otherwise, he was just making all these decisions on the ship. They weren't like.
Well, yeah, they were in the middle of the ocean. He's like, I'm the only one. I know,
but it's somebody. You're like, oh yeah, by the way, my boss is dead. Maybe get someone else over here.
Yep.
No, that next man up. Okay, fine. I'll take over the ship. And it's a cool design. It's a nice set design with all the screens in the middle. Very Battlestar Galactica bridge feel to it.
It was, yeah. It's got you could picture it just like a James Bond vehicle, like suddenly growing like skis and then kicking into high
that
gear.
Would have been cool. Yeah, little hydrofoils.
Like the front end of it like detaches from the back end, and suddenly it's a super speed thing.
Don't be giving people ideas for season 3 here.
So it's soon kind of revealed that Apex wants to call on Titan X to actually cause a problem similar to G-Day. So that will give them
an
license
excuse
to continue their work and to get more funding or what have you. So they want to create a disaster for their own benefit. So at this point, you know that they're a bunch of scumbags. You already knew because they created Mechagodzilla a few years down the line.
But that's in the future.
Right.
But
who knows? Maybe that was already built, but they just needed one of those heads of King Ghidorah to make it really,
we're just waiting
all come
for
together.
Another monster to show up that we can kill and slap its brain in it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You can't just make a Mechagodzilla in 2 weeks. That takes years.
No, you need That's some serious government contractors right there.
So we also have this is another. All of these are returning characters, pretty much. We also have May, who is the super hacker of the Scooby team here, the Scooby gang.
She's like a secret agent, triple agent. Like she changes alliance. Like you never know. So she also wasn't her name not just May. She also went under. What was the other name she was using?
Cora.
I'm like, what is going on with this girl? I could have done without her storyline altogether.
Although she's needed because it's her code that will enable Apex to take control or to, I don't know, aggravate the monsters. So Apex gives May, like on the down low, a job offer. She goes and tells Monarch that she's been given a job offer by Apex. So they're like, well, take it. You can be our mole in Apex.
Yeah, and make sure you sign up for the all the little side services. Make sure you get
the benefits
insurance
package
and benefit package.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. How many weeks off do I get? No, she's immediately like working it.
You've got that procedure coming up. You do it now.
Yeah.
Do it now.
And she answers to, was it Barbara? What was that lady's name that she answered to?
She had dangly earrings. That's all I remember of that lady.
Dangly earring girl. You're like a cat with a laser pointer. Dangly earrings for you.
They want to aggravate Titan X to cause it to destroy something, I guess.
To destroy something. Collateral damage. Screw it. Let a kid take out a city.
So midway through the season, our future team goes back to the same village that the past team went to, but now it's abandoned and kind of a shell of itself because this is one of the migratory routes. So Apex have set up there, and our secret Monarch team has also shown up to spy on them. We can call them the Monarch Scooby Gang because it's all the usual suspects, the same players. And this is where, what is the father's name? I'm drawing a blank now.
Hiroshi?
This is where Hiroshi gets killed because, again, Titan X comes out of the water, but, not meaning to kill anybody. Just happens one of the tentacles comes down on
oops. That's what happens Hiroshi. When you have giant monster action. Eventually, again, collateral damage.
Yeah.
But this is interesting because they set this guy up, especially now that his mom is back and they're basically the same age. And there's all this drama that they're trying to shuffle through. And like I said, he's about as hypocritical as can be. And then they kill him.
Yeah.
And Kentaro wasn't there. So now this kid has serious issues that his dad's dead, and he never got to say goodbye.
Kate is blaming herself not only for her kids that are lost on G-Day, but now she's blaming herself all through this show that she's the one that unleashed Titan X on the world through the rift.
She needs some therapy. Again, you're the only one to experience G-Day.
And the reason that you went back was to get Lee, which you successfully did.
Right. Yeah.
So now she's guilty that she's responsible for killing her own father because Titan X killed her father because she released Titan X.
Who she has a bond with.
Yes.
She can communicate with him.
So now this is where things start picking up because where we are now, what we're discussing now is midway through the season. So after that first episode with Kong smashing everything on Skull Island and that drama where they're chasing Titan X to stop it from destroying the boats, you don't really get a lot of monster action in episodes 3, 4, and 5. So this is where it starts to pick up because now that Korra has actually written her code and Apex have transmitted it into Titan X, now it's confused and it doesn't know where to go, so it's off its migratory route and it's irritated. So now it could be a threat to something.
Pissed it off. Yeah.
So now they're looking at their options. How do we stop this thing now that Apex have done what they have done to it? And Lee's idea, well, I know a bigger, badder monster that can take care of this problem immediately. So he starts to look into ways to call Godzilla.
He's got a Titan phone.
Well, actually, the old man from the flashbacks.
Yeah. So is this the episode 6? So we're halfway. There's 10 episodes. This is where we do get Godzilla attacking the city and fighting Titan X.
But it's a dream. It's a dream.
It's a dream. They friggin' pull a fast one on you. Like, okay, cool. Godzilla showed up, man. He's taking care of this thing. We're finally getting what we wanted. And nope, Kentaro wakes up in a cold sweat. It's just a dream. I'm like, you mother. What? What a move.
Which to me, this was a complete trailer moment where they could have shown that in the trailer, and you're like, yeah, this season is going to be awesome.
Right, because it's city demolition going on. You got Titan on Titan action. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Nope, don't get any of it. But we also get that's the same where Kentaro is hitting on May in the bar, and then she blows him off, and he says, "I guess I'm the wrong Randa," implying that maybe she had a thing for Kate. But this is where Isabel steps in.
Yep. Immediately
swoops in. Hey, I see you struck out with your date. Why don't you come with me? Come to Thailand. What? I don't know you. But we find out pretty quickly her dad is CEO of Apex.
Yeah, and the same guy, the same character that we met in Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong. Simmons is his last name, Walter Simmons. Mm-hmm. Because when she said, yeah, I'm Walter Simmons' daughter, I went right to Google. Who is Walter Simmons on Monarch?
Yeah.
It's that guy from Godzilla versus Kong.
But at Hiroshi's graveside is when this Dr. Suzuki comes back into the picture.
So this is where it gets really interesting. And I really hoped that they would have gone further with this. But you get some kind of, what was that movie where the father talks to his son on the radio? Frequency.
Yeah. You're spot on with that. That's exactly what happens here. At the end of this episode, Lee and Zooks have this community. Oh, I happen to still have my Apex, Titan communication device. Let's go set it up.
Let's go set it up next to this rift because we think that Godzilla is in Axis Mundi. So let's set it up and let's open the rift to Axis Mundi. But as they do so, to call Godzilla, that's what they're intent is because Axis Mundi, it has no time laws whatsoever, and young Lee at one point was trapped in Axis Mundi
looking for Keiko.
Well, I don't know if he knew that Keiko, I think he assumed that Keiko was dead. He didn't know that Keiko was even there to begin with.
Okay, this is where I got confused because I thought that he's the one who got trapped going back looking for her. No,
I think that he was just going because when Keiko got sucked in, all those bug things were on her, so it looked like she died and fell into a pit. I don't think that they knew what Axis Mundi was at that point.
Okay. We didn't know either.
That's why young Lee is surprised when he sees Keiko in Axis Mundi.
I'd be more surprised that I'm talking to myself.
So because there's no
timey-wimey,
there's no time laws here in Axis Mundi, when old Lee opens the door to call Godzilla, he's actually able to talk to himself, who is still stuck in Axis Mundi back in the 60s or whenever it was, via the radio. Old Lee knows exactly who it is that he's talking to immediately. But it's the young one that has to catch on, like I'm talking to myself in the future, because he thinks it's just the Monarch
just
team.
Like me. Okay,
yeah.
I'm all for fun time travel. I have questions. I have a lot of questions about this.
Because you would think that, okay, in the original timeline, this didn't happen to young Lee. He just got out without ever
Otherwise,
talking
he would
to old
remember
Lee.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the point where I talk to myself. So there's literally, when they're hashing it out between the two of them, and past Shaw realizes that future Shaw, who he's talking to, is not Command. Who are you? Well, you better hold on to your hats. I'm you.
I'm you, soldier.
I wear all of your scars. And then he gets his face cut. And all of a sudden, future Lee has a cut on his cheek, which I don't think we've seen before.
No, I think you're right.
So isn't the act of talking to yourself already changing the future? They're changing. This is Bill and Ted level antics. It is.
And old Lee keeps telling him, do not engage with Keiko because we know she will eventually get out, just like you. And if you do, you might mess that up.
But he purposely had him take, all right, go to this tree. There's going to be a transponder. Now find this monster and stick it up its ass so we can track it in the future. And that's what happens. I mean, wouldn't this create a divergent timeline?
It would. It would create several, I would think.
He wouldn't. Here's my other question. Why did old Biff disappear when he came back from the giving his younger self the sports almanac? So many questions.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. This infuriated me.
But you could tell, like at the writer's room, how can we get these two actors together? That's what everybody wants to see. You know what?
And that's exactly the pitch. Sure. Yeah. You got father and son playing the same character. They both have charisma. How can we make this happen? Hey, I was watching this Dennis Quaid movie the other night. Can we do something like that?
That writer is carried out on the shoulders of everybody else.
No, they're applauding this man. They're like, you are a genius. But yes, it would. Okay.
But I would have, even if it would have made no sense, I would have loved to have young Lee step into the future and like act right alongside old Lee. I thought that's what was going to happen.
We almost got that.
Yeah.
We came pretty damn close by the last episode.
Yeah.
Of these two actually physically meeting. Don't shake hands because you're probably going to destroy the universe. It was nice to see them interact with each other. Yeah. So he plants a tracker on Titan X, who's in some kind of a mud hut. Like, is he trapped or is he?
No, I think that's a cocoon. So the way that I took it is that every few, I don't know if it's centuries or decades or what the migratory timeline is, but it goes back to Axis Mundi when it's not on its migratory route and it cocoons itself up there. And then when it's time to come out again, that's when it comes out and does its route around the world, and then it goes back in.
Future Kurtrussell Lee was like, I know where there's a Titan. I know where that thing is. Okay. We never saw it in a flashback.
Well, he was trapped there. He was trapped there.
So at some point he realized that this thing was in there and just said, I'm going to steer clear of it. Now you're telling me to go take a probe up its buttocks.
Yep. And it was pretty easy to insert that as well. He just had to push, and he found a hole.
And that means it would have stayed there all those years
and worked
into the future and worked. So immediately they can now track this thing because of what he did in the past. Again, this is Bill and Ted level. Like, hey, remind me when this is over to go back in time and put that garbage can there so it could fall on my dad's head, and falls on his head. Yeah, we did it. Crazy. Okay. All right. We're in. Let's go.
But in the meantime, older Lee tells young Lee how it is that he gets out, which we saw in season 1. He just some Titan was leaving, and Lee was just happened to be in the vehicle when it was leaving, and he got sucked out along with it.
Yeah.
So he's like, just get in the vehicle, wait for that dragon to fly by, and then you'll be home. He's like, are you sure? I've never been so sure in my life.
What would be better if he told him, by the way, don't use those purple leaves to wipe your butt, because it's not going to end well.
They have teeth, those purple leaves.
Everything there is looking to eat you. But you're right. He sees Keiko. She's fishing or whatever. I don't know. Have you ever been in the woods by yourself? Like, I think you get that feeling when he's literally like skulking behind a tree staring at her.
Yeah.
At some point, I'd be like, who's over there? Oh, shit. She saw me. Now you're going to have to kill her.
So, as you said before, you pointed out that when young Lee gets cut on the face, suddenly a scar appears on old Lee. So we can only assume that suddenly in the future, now Titan X has a tracker in it when it didn't a second before.
Right.
So suddenly it just shows up on their tracking beacon.
All
oh,
right, we got
look
it.
at that.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, past self. Thanks, future self.
And Keiko later on is so mad at Billy for not engaging with her in Axis Mundi. He's like, don't. And I felt like, don't
Billy
you understand if
Lee?
Lee. Yeah. Don't. I understood better than she did. The reason he didn't is you both could have died because of the unknown.
Listen, I knew you'd get out eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, 30 years went by, but we did get you out.
Which is probably like what, a month, 2 months for her?
I don't know. I mean, she looked pretty feral in there. Yeah. Season 1, she was out there hunting with
with a bow and arrow.
Yeah. I don't know. But they end up in Australia?
Because I guess Titan X, like, this is a close, I don't know if this was on the migratory route or not.
But somehow these characters are just going from point A to point B all across the globe. Kurt Russell, because
now they can.
He flew to Australia, rented a Jeep, and drove to the coast.
Yeah, Monarch has deep pockets apparently. But
again,
now that they've got the tracker,
expense report comes out at the end. They're like, wait a minute,
they know where Titan X is going now because they have the tracker. They're tracking it, so they know it's headed for the Australian coast. And we can only assume that this is part of its migratory because all the bugs come out of the beach on the Australian coast.
And that's where she lays the egg.
Yeah. And this is when he also, because he's still convinced that he's got to call Godzilla. But Kate already knows because she has developed some, and don't even tell me to explain how that happened, but Kate has developed a connection with
and it's
Titan
never
X.
It's never explained. It's never really expounded upon the idea that she somehow has some kind of a psionic connection to this thing. And at one point, Keiko dunks her in the well. And all I could think of was in Caveman that we covered last week, when they were fishing and they're using the women by dunking them down in the water to come up with the fish. I'm like, that's what you're doing. You're just fishing with Kate.
But really, the only reason to do it is to make Titan X have a mouthpiece in Kate. So she can tell us, the audience, and the other characters what Titan X's true motivations are.
We could have gotten that because like I said, the fact that this thing has bioluminescent horns that turn red. Oh, it's angry. And then when the little creatures came, it turned blue. And it's like, oh, it's happy now. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, this is just a mother.
Maybe the little creatures are like all the dads of the Titan X babies. Those are like the male Titan X, and they're tiny. And they all die after I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Egg could have cracked open and 100 of those scarabs could have come out.
I don't think so. I think those scarabs are something different.
Snake lay eggs, and there's multiple snakes inside there. So
I would love to have that scarab prop that was in the bar. That they tried to take a picture of at the very beginning.
Put that camera away.
So as you said, like, they all somehow make it onto this beach where Titan X, and you think that Titan X is like in its death throes because there's all these birds flying around it waiting to eat it. And it does look like it's shriveling up. Old Lee manages to set up his Call Godzilla machine, and he reaches out and touches Godzilla, who's on the bottom of the Pacific, sleeping it off after G-Day, right?
Yeah, so why were they trying to communicate with it in Axis Mundi? If Godzilla is just chilling the Pacific. He's just chilling in the Pacific.
Yeah.
He wasn't sleeping in the Coliseum yet.
And Kate's running over to Lee like, no, you can't. You don't understand this thing like I do. He's like, I understand that Godzilla's got to stop it. So he wakes it up and Godzilla shows up on the beach and there is like a 3-minute scene where there's a nice little throwdown that they have.
Throwdown.
But Godzilla is not really invested. You could tell that he's kind of pulling his punches on this thing. Like he breathes the fire, but he misses it like point blank. He misses.
Just shot fired. Don't make me point this at you.
But we do find out that Godzilla knows what Kate knows, that this thing just needs to be on its path and is not a threat to him.
Yes.
So
Godzilla was probably more mad at Lee that it woke him up.
Yeah.
He's like, really? She just needs to go back to Skull Island. Just get her back to Skull Island. Keep her there. We're good.
So Godzilla chases Monster X to Skull Island, and then as soon as he sees that she's heading to Skull Island, he turns around.
Yeah, just shepherds him in. In.
Yep. He's wake me up next time you need me, and then
don't wake me up until next movie.
Yeah, I can't go on Skull Island yet. Correct. I haven't met Kong. Yeah,
no, not yet.
But this is another question because in Godzilla versus Kong, they say that they've never met before because of the storm wall around Skull Island. So Godzilla has never been able to detect Kong through the storm wall.
The storm was calm that day.
Yeah, it was calm that day.
Yeah. Again, they're retrofitting this stuff in here. You know, this is like finding out that Obi-Wan fought Anakin, whatever. Okay. Yeah. Kong's on Skull Island, Monarch's on Skull Island, and now Titan X is back on Skull Island, and Apex is on Skull Island.
Yes.
Okay.
Not exactly Apex, though, because it's...
No, it was Isabel and Kentaro.
Isabel, Kentaro, and Isabel's like team
She's got like a Team SEAL 6 or something that's like these thugs.
So now what Isabel wants to do is to exploit Axis Mundi and use Titan X to get access to Axis Mundi. So she can sell time travel to the highest bidder, I guess.
Seashells by the seashore?
Yeah.
But I think she also wanted it to kill Kong. They wanted to control Titan X to kill Kong so that they would have access to the portals. Yeah,
so then they could use on Skull Island Titan X as much as they wanted to without Kong's interference. So they wanted A, for Titan X to kill Kong, and then B, use Titan X to get in and out of Axis Mundi.
And Kentaro is on board with this. Why? Just because he's
to get his dad back, because that was his ulterior motive.
So he's like, well, wait a minute. If this thing's like a time machine, we could just go back. It's a DeLorean. Let's just go back and
pull Dad
save
out.
Dad.
Yeah, which is why they could have done the same with young Lee and had him in next to old Lee.
Right. Keiko, we could have saved you a long time ago.
Yeah,
shit, we didn't think this through.
So now we get the real fight of all of season 2, which is Kong versus Titan X. So Kong is not as receptive, apparently, as Godzilla is. So Kong is just pissed off that Titan X is encroaching on its territory.
Godzilla's just like, as long as you're not out terrorizing these people, I'm good with you.
As long as you recognize me as King of the Monsters, then I'm
yeah, right. I even have a sash.
Yeah.
King of the Monsters. But Kong, on the other hand, is like, I just got to get this thing off my island. Don't want you here. We never see those people. I can't even remember I guess they're all gone by now.
The natives of Skull Island.
Yes, correct. I could
because they do explain in Godzilla versus Kong that there's no more natives because they couldn't take the storms anymore. That it just destroyed their village over and over and over again.
Didn't want to do. Nobody would sit in that makeup.
They just relocated after.
We'll kill you off.
Yeah, eventually they relocated.
Yeah.
Or they were relocated. Probably more likely Monarch relocated them.
Right. But this is where things start to pay off. So you get frustrated because of all this, as we mentioned, this melodrama that's going on between these characters. Billy's nowhere to be found. We know, obviously, that, this character is killed off in Kong Skull Island. But we're getting him in flashbacks. It's frustrating because I do like that character a lot. He is a plot device in the sense that they're using his research, they're using his journal and his papers to track this thing. But once they get to Kong Island, this really comes full circle.
It does, because now they're discovering items from the John Goodman iteration of Randa.
They literally come across the battlefield where the Huey helicopters are crashed, and they find his camera. They find his property and realize that's where he died.
Yeah, and they find one of the helicopters too. The wreckage of a helicopter.
Yeah, and to me, this is where. And then Keiko gets pissed. She's like, "Damn you, Billy!" You know, because they did have that flashback sequence where you see them get married. And she has this lovely little thing that she wrote as a wedding vow. And he had nothing. He's like, ditto or whatever. And you're like, oh, this guy doesn't care about anything except his research. And then I think maybe this is where the portal that Billy said was going to be here. And then they start finding these probes.
But as you said, this episode is what you've wanted to see out of this show all season. You've got, not only are they gearing up for the big fight, but you're also going through Skull Island where everything wants to kill you. So you've got new monsters attacking them like left and right. There was that tree monster that came out of the trees.
Yes. Yeah.
There were the rolling centipedes. There's all
they
cool
were cool
stuff.
looking. We never saw a skull crusher though.
No.
Skull crawler.
We heard
whatever he called them.
We did hear one because they were luring Kong with the skull crawler's call.
Yes, in the helicopter. But this is where Lee and Keiko realize that Billy was traveling around sending these pods, these probes.
Message in a bottle kind of thing.
Yeah, each one of them had a message to Keiko. He was trying to contact her when she was trapped in Axis Mundi, correct?
He was, but again, how would he know that? Because it looked like she died. All those bug things surrounded her, and she fell down a pit. I don't know if it was obvious that she fell into Axis Mundi.
So this is what they refer to as Grand Central Station. Each one of these probes had literally like a timeline and where he dropped them, and they all came out here. So this is
so they never ended up in Axis Mundi. They just popped up again and
back over here, and they all had the same message: "I'll follow you to the ends of the earth and beyond." So that's when Keiko comes to the realization that it wasn't the research he was caring about. It was finding her.
Was it the same message, though? Like maybe he could have put in one of them, I had great Thai food tonight.
Right. Eat it, Joe's. Had too many Mai Tais last night.
Yeah.
Head not feeling good today.
Yeah.
No, apparently they were all the same message.
Okay.
So now Keiko's like, now I feel bad. I cursed the guy. All he was doing was looking for me. His one true love. Who accidentally slept with his best friend.
Accidentally?
Yeah, I tripped and fell into her.
Yeah.
Yes. So I thought this was nice, though. I thought this was okay, that wraps up Billy's story. It doesn't fix the fact that he's nowhere to be seen in 3/4 of these episodes. Because I really hope
that we see the young Billy again. I don't. Well, it seems that they've wrapped it up.
The prequel series that you just mentioned, which is going to be young Lee, I was really hoping it was going to be a Billy centric, because then you could see him again being a Fox Mulder type character. He's chasing these monsters. You could have got a different monster every week.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping from the very beginning of season 1, that Monarch was going to be like a monster of the week type show.
Right. And I think we got more monsters in season 1.
And maybe, the way that they leave season 2, maybe that is still to come. Who knows?
I do have a question about that as well.
We do get the fight between Kong and Titan X because...
if that didn't pay off, I would have been very disappointed.
Yeah, and Kong is throwing down, and he's not disappointing. And they are jacking up Titan X's aggravation level.
Yeah, they're rage amplifying this thing.
Because of Korra's code.
They kidnapped the egg. They got some kind of it's like hardwired, and then they drugged it. So this thing is just like, yeah.
So again, you feel completely bad, and you don't want Kong to hurt it because it's like doing this against its wishes.
Right.
And it's being manipulated, but they are, it's holding its own against Kong. It's not like Kong is ripping the thing apart.
No, but I think that Kong could have done some serious damage.
But what's also great about this is Keiko is trying to save Kate, who is stuck on the ground in between the two monsters as they're fighting.
Yeah, because I think Apex kidnapped her and put her in the...
And she came out of a manhole and suddenly, So you're getting the point of view of the fight from the ground,
which is nice. That is one thing I'll say about Legendary, because I think in Godzilla 2014 was kind of one of those first person on the ground perspectives, where you're looking up and you just see these damn giant monsters looming over top of you, beating the crap out of each other.
And they're right underfoot of them.
Yeah,
so they could be stepped on at any given moment.
So Kate's in between and jumps in her Jeep and just skedaddles out of there.
At one point, the egg is revealed. A garage door opens, like in the mountain, and there's the egg.
Yeah, there's my egg. That's what I'm here for.
And as soon as Kong sees that, I think he realizes as well. So he just sits back. He's like, "Oh, okay."
That's what you want? I got a dozen back in the fridge.
Does this mean that you're going to leave once you get that? Okay, right. I'll just sit right here. I'll watch you leave.
So does Kong know that there's a portal? Like, is his end game to get this thing back through the portal? Like
I don't think that he wants. I think when we watched Godzilla versus Kong, that was the first time that he was ever in anywhere else but Skull Island. I think he knows there's portals, and he gets upset when things come through and go in, and he doesn't go in himself.
He's like, I see what's in there. I'm not going through there. Yeah. I heard there's
I got it pretty good here. I got it pretty good.
There's a giant monkey riding a dragon. I don't want any part of that.
So this is also where we get, when the rift comes up and Titan X finally goes back in with her egg, we get Young Lee, like an apparition of Young Lee, like appear in the rift, and old Lee salutes him or whatever.
Was so not needed. This was, let's just tie this all up in a bow. No, Hiroshi should have been there. Because obviously Kentaro leaves with Isabel with the idea that he's going to somehow use this technology to save his father.
So in theory, that could have been Keiko in Access Monday looking at herself. It could have been Kate in Access Monday looking at herself.
It could have been Hayden Christensen and Yoda and Obi-Wan.
So it's a happy ending. Wraps up this storyline very nicely. So, they get rid of Titan X. Will we ever see Titan X again? Who knows?
I hope not. I hope she's all happy. And she's like, I got my egg. I'm going back.
She can go on the bench along with Shimu. We don't need them again.
So if she was in Access Mundi all this time, like how many times does she get out and do the migratory route?
I'm sure that they said what the timeline was, but it was every certain number of years she left Access Mundi to do the migratory route and then come back to Access Mundi. So that's why I'm thinking that somehow those little things were the male Titan X's.
Or again, maybe the egg hatch and they just burrow underground and sit there until she comes.
I'm not curious enough that I care that they ever explain that.
Right, I know, we're already overthinking this because it's not like she laid an egg every place that she landed.
No.
Otherwise, there'd be eggs all over that sea village. There were scared. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, you're right. Happy ending, blah, blah, blah. Tim and May, X-Files, exactly what you said. They get a nice little basement office.
Yes. So they think that
Keiko
now
too, right?
So now Keiko does too. Now they're in Monarch headquarters. Was this in DC? I assume it's in DC.
Yeah, you never told.
That they see the big memorial wall set up by Monarch. And Keiko herself is on it. They said, you're the first one that went up on this memorial wall because, again, we thought you died because of all those bugs.
Yeah, so now she's legally dead. So you can't give her a paycheck. She has no assets. She hasn't got nothing. She doesn't even have a social security number anymore.
Well, they could take care of that. They've got government connections.
Just undead her?
Undead her.
Okay.
So now Hiroshi's up on the wall too. But we know he's not dead because he's an Access.
No, he needs to stay dead. I don't need this guy back. I did not like this character.
He's gonna. You know what's gonna happen is he's gonna have
piece of crap.
He's gonna have a third family in Access Monday.
One of the scarabs. We have our differences.
I can't say no to my heart. I can't say no.
I love all of her thoraxes. Yes. But so this is a very nice, let's get back to the original mission statement of discover and defend.
So just like X-Files, they're in the basement now. They've got the basement office.
Changes her name again and goes undercover.
They're like the secret part of Monarch now.
Right.
I was also wondering, okay, so where are these other bigwig characters from Monarch? They're not even mentioned. The
Well,
ones
that's what
that
I'm
we know from the
saying. Like, who is
movies.
Tim really answering to? I mean, yeah, there's got to be like a whole organization because we do find out. I mean, they have like every place that there's a Titan on the planet, they have a station set up.
Because that whole Monarch team that was tracking Ghidorah in King of the Monsters, none of them are in this.
Maybe it's like Shield. There's just a bunch of helicarriers floating around. Everyone goes to their mutual corners.
But the real nerd payoff here, the real kaiju nerd payoff here is the very ending coda of Kurt Russell's Lee going to, where was he? Thailand, somewhere like that?
Yeah, somewhere in the jungle.
And he's talking to some gangster that he's dealt with before. And the gangster tells him, yeah, Kentaro and Isabella were just here yesterday.
Right.
And they wanted to know where this certain thing was.
They were already asking questions.
Yep. So they're looking, obviously, for another Titan that they can use to get into Axis Mundi. And they found a Titan here in Thailand. So the gangster tells Lee where to go to find the same Titan. I'm not going. I've got these burns all over my arm the last time I messed with it.
How close did you get to that thing?
On the top of a volcano, Lee sees who we know as Rodan from Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yeah. So, and he says, I'll see you soon. I'll be back, buddy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you just see this thing if you're flying over? All right, that guy said there's no monsters.
Right.
Let's leave the airport. Oh shit, look below. There it is.
But again, how does this work with King of the Monsters? Because It came out of a volcano in Mexico in King of the Monsters.
Well, probably just like the portals. It's just underground magma tunnels. All
and
volcanoes
at that
are
time,
connected. I don't know.
None of the other Monarch, the team of Monarch that were chasing Ghidorah and Rodan didn't know what that was. That was a new Titan to them.
I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, it's you get a little teaser monster. We don't even know if we're getting a season 3 at this point.
No, hasn't been
announced.
The only thing that's been announced, as we said, is that prequel series has been greenlit.
Well, we know we're getting Godzilla Kong Supernova next year. That comes out 2027. That's the new movie.
Yeah, but that's on the movie timeline, so it doesn't take place when any of this stuff takes place.
Well, who the hell knows? They might time jump season 3 into between 2 other movies.
Well, yeah, they got a bona fide movie star in this show with Kurt Russell, so...
Yeah, that's probably where half the budget went.
And
keeping Kurt Russell.
Oh, I love the fact that, well, not only Kurt and Wyatt Russell did this to obviously work together, but I saw an interview somewhere where Kurt Russell was like, oh, yeah, I love Godzilla. That's one of the reasons I took this role.
Cool.
Is because he's a Godzilla fan.
So he's a monster nerd, which is good.
Yep.
He's not just doing it for a paycheck. He's invested. Although his motivation was kind of all over the place as well. Nah. I enjoyed it. I think the last 3 episodes really kind of brought it home. Like you said, sometimes with these budgetary 10 episodes, you end up with filler.
Yeah,
it's like let's just do the human drama crap.
I know. If it was maybe 6 episodes, then
all right, just get to it. Kate didn't need to leave to go find her original mom to have that whole side story with her ex-girlfriend or whatever, and the bender they went. Just get rid of all that. The Kentaro stuff, he's as mopey as his dad.
Yeah.
Oh, my dad's dead now. Monster killed him. I'm going to bring him back.
Yeah.
It's like, get over yourself.
I'm going to work with the bad guys.
I don't know. Listen, Amber Mid-Thunder came knocking on my door. I might have
Kentaro just drops his sister at a moment's notice, 5 different times during season.
Yeah, and like I said, he ends up in Thailand. Come visit me in Thailand. You went to Thailand in between episodes? These people are just jet setting all over the world here.
I did actually like the monster action better in season 2 than I did season 1.
Okay.
Because you did get more Godzilla, obviously, in season 1, but it was like he was sparsed through, he showed up in every other episode. And he was never fighting anybody until the very end where he was fighting that lame little tiny, bird thing.
That's right, yeah.
This is a throwdown, like movie style fight that we see with Kong and Titan X.
Yeah, it's more substantial.
Yeah,
and probably at the end of it, it probably does have more screen time than that first season. It just got parsed out more.
And I enjoy watching Kong fight, to be honest, in this MonsterVerse more than Godzilla, because he can, he can throw down. He's jumping all over the place.
He's very nimble. He's bouncing around that island.
And my wife brought this up, and, I agree that Godzilla's head is too small in the MonsterVerse.
I do not like this Godzilla design. I agree. His arms are too long and his head is too small.
Yeah.
He looks like those chunky dinosaurs from Caveman, to go back to last episode as well.
He's not proportionately correct.
No.
Just make his head bigger, then I'd be happier if they made his head bigger.
Not too big, because then he looks like Godzilla 98. You don't want that either. I think I actually have the art of Godzilla 2014, and they did quite a few iterations. And this is the one they landed on.
So I'm hoping that season 3, if it comes, is going to be a Monster of the Week show. Because it seems that they've closed the door on the past Lee, Randa, Keiko storyline, because they're giving Lee, as we said, his own prequel. So why would he be in this show if he, doing flashbacks, if you can just do that in his own show? So unfortunately, Billy, I don't think is going to be, unless he's in the prequel with Lee.
So do you think it's going to be strictly Wyatt, or is Kurt going to be like an old man sitting in the folks' home telling stories, and it's just all like that one episode of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles where Harrison Ford showed up on the porch and just told a story?
I think that from this point on, I think that they're just going to split between the two. Like, I think that Kurt is going to be in the Monarch show, and now Wyatt is going to be in the old show. Now, the thing is that they say that this is in this prequel is going to be in Cold War era, but Billy went into the rift. Not Billy, Lee went into the rift in 1963, I think.
Okay, I'll take your word for that.
And we last see what he's doing in Monarch, in the Monarch show. I think the timeline goes up to 1960. So that gives him like 2 to 3 years of time that they could actually say what happened in this prequel. Because once 63 hits, or 62 or whatever it is, he goes into Axis Mundi and he's there until 82. So he's only got a few years of stories in him, does Lee.
Wonder which episode he talks to his future self.
Yeah.
Does he remember that at all? Do you think in this universe, Blue Oyster Cult wrote their song after Godzilla attacked the city? And they're like, oh, we got to write a song about that guy.
I would love if that was in universe, that song.
That would be fantastic. Yeah. It shows up on the radio. That's like, what was it? Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and the girls in the subway singing the Spider-Man Saturday morning cartoon show. Mm-hmm. A little meta. So,
and that's what they would actually use to lure Godzilla, not the Godzilla call thing, but
the actual song.
Speakers with Blue Oyster Cult blaring on it.
Oh no! They say he's got to go.
He's like, I know that riff.
That me. They wrote a song about me. What are we thinking about Supernova? I have the description that I pulled from IMDb. I don't know. I know you're so reluctant to like watch trailers or any teasers.
I've seen a few headlines here and there about it because of the colors that are present in the logo. At first, they were saying it was going to be Gigan is the new big bad in the movie. But now all points are indicating that it's going to be Space Godzilla. So it's either going to be Gigan or Space Godzilla.
What if we got them both?
That would blow my mind. I'm not a big fan of Space Godzilla.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh, I think they could do something fun with him. I agree with you. I think that Space Godzilla makes sense only because of the supernova, which is a space reference. But
Gigan came from Nebula something M. Maybe Nova was in the
next question, which Space Godzilla was grown from an alien. I don't remember how Space Godzilla.
Yeah, it was.
Existed.
It actually is tied into Biollante because when Godzilla destroys Biollante at the end of that movie, the Godzilla cells go up into outer space. A couple of movies later, we find out that one of those cells attached to something and grew Space Godzilla.
Space Godzilla. I think he comes down. He's got like a astronaut helmet on.
While Gigan is a cyborg being created by aliens. So I guess that would be completely ridiculous
cyborg?
to go. He was a cyborg, yeah.
I don't remember that.
I guess you part robot, part chicken.
Robot chicken?
Yeah.
You think someone would have actually given him hands? Those hooks are not good for anything. But not only are we getting Supernova next year, but this year we're getting sequel to Godzilla -1. We're getting Godzilla -0.
Yes, which exists separately from the MonsterVerse.
Yeah, this is what's confusing because this TV show and Supernova exist within the American legendary film series.
Yes.
Godzilla -1 and Godzilla -0 exist in its own timeline. And now Toho has just announced that the popularity of this stuff, that they're going to create their own, they're going to reboot their own Godzilla universe called Godzilla World. And that they plan on doing spin-offs. They're like, look at how well this MonsterVerse is doing with Legendary. So we're gonna take some of the original concepts and strategically roll out some spin-offs of our own.
Yeah, I just hope that they don't fall into the same trap as they did in the 90s, where they feel like they just have to keep revisiting the original characters over and over
it's
and
so
over
frustrating. Again, talking with family yesterday, and there's a fair amount of people watching this Monarch, and I love Mothra, and I'm like, which one? She dies in every movie she's in.
And Ghidorah has been brought back so many times now.
Yeah, no, move on. Well, King Ghidorah is like solid. That's a solid character right there. Yeah, I don't know. So we're getting a lot of Godzilla.
We are.
It's coming.
Who would have believed it? If we were told
I'm sitting there in the backyard yesterday drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon with a Godzilla graphic on it. I'm like, look at this. The nerds have definitely taken over.
They have.
And we're here for it.
I just wonder if kids today that are Godzilla fans just know how lucky they are that they have this plethora to choose from.
Yeah.
While we would have to wait 6 months in between showing the movies on TV to watch them.
No, I turned my son on to Godzilla pretty early. And I do remember a couple dads. Yeah, Ben was over at my house and he was talking about Godzilla, like the Godzilla movies we used to watch as kids. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, they still make them? I'm like, yeah, there's like 32 of them. People are like, oh, I watch it on Saturday morning. That was about it. Speaking of monster, I know we're not going to get into the what else did we do, but I stumbled across. So Svengoolie, are you familiar with Svengoolie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So anybody who doesn't know, he's a Joe Bob Briggs kind of, well, I guess he's closer to like an Elvira.
Yeah, he's very shticky.
Which is great. I love it.
Yeah.
But he's a host of a monster movie series, and they bring it. So last night they had Frankenstein and the Creature from Hell, which is a Hammer film,
which is one of those Peter Cushing.
Cushing. I think he played Dr. Frankenstein in like 8 or 9 of those movies. I have always steered clear of those, but I stumbled across it and I started watching, and I'm like, this is actually pretty cool. So I might have to kind of dip my toe into some of those old.
That's
Hammer.
The one where like Frankenstein looks like Quasimodo, right?
Yes, yeah, played by David Prowse.
Yes,
Darth Vader himself. You had Grand Moff Tarkin and David and Darth Vader.
And I love whenever the monster like strangles Peter Cushing, like his hair gets all out of place and he's got that long hair like going crazy everywhere.
Scoop it back. It was pretty wild and it was pretty grisly, and there's a lot of very vivid red blood splattered.
Yes, were there heaving bosoms? Because that's also a trademark of Hammer films.
I was fixated on the damn monster, to be honest with you. And then the townsfolk in the I don't know if they were a mental asylum or whatever, like eviscerated him, like tore him apart, tore his guts right out. I'm like, damn, this is pretty hardcore. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to search out some more of these. It was kind of fun. So there we go. We actually watched a TV show together and talked about it.
We did. And next time, the next new episode that we do, we are staying firmly in this MonsterVerse world. There are 2 movies that we have not yet covered from the MonsterVerse, and we are taking care of that particular problem in our next new episode.
bookending this TV show, basically.
We are. So we are going to go back to G-Day, all the way back to 2014
I
and the
wonder
original.
if Kate's there on the bridge.
If you can,
that would be pretty wild.
Or if they just like Lucas her in to.
I think it's too late now.
Yeah.
You just hear off camera, my kids.
So the Gareth Edwards version of Godzilla we will be covering.
Yeah.
Along with Kong Skull Island. So we'll talk all about Billy Randa again.
We've been sitting on this for a long time.
Yeah, we have.
That's it. We're not going to have any. So this is if anybody listens to the show, every Thanksgiving weekend, we do cover our double creature feature, monster, old school Godzilla. So this is midway. Are we midway to Thanksgiving here?
Yeah, we're exactly 6 months away now from November.
Maze giving, monster giving, Titan giving.
Halfway to Thanksgiving.
No, so you're not. Okay, fine.
Maze giving?
It's May.
Oh, I thought, I'm like, what does corn have to do with Godzilla?
No,
not that Maze.
It's the month of May. Half givings, Titan givings. I'll work it. We'll workshop it. So yeah, that's going to be very exciting.
It will.
I don't think I own either one of these.
I can't think of a better time to revisit these than just coming off the back of season 2 of Monarch.
No, absolutely. It actually whets your appetite for this stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll get a lot more monster stuff, that's for sure. Screw the human drama. Although we do have brother and sister playing husband and wife in this Godzilla.
Even though it was a hit and it spawned the MonsterVerse, the complaint at the time was that there was not enough Godzilla. So we'll see if that holds true.
A lot of Muto action.
Yeah.
And see if they hold up. I was not impressed with their design either. I think there's some eggs involved in that one too.
Yes, there are. Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Well, that's next time. And then, boy, we're hitting the ground running come the end of May. We are Nerdvana.
Yeah, there's so much.
We got the Mandalorian coming in, and Grogu, Masters of the Universe, Disclosure Day, Supergirl, Toy Story 5,
Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man. Yeah, brand new day. Good time to be a nerd, my friend.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
All right. So until next time, as always, thank you. All of our contacts are at the end of this episode, and let us know we're idiots or that we're geniuses.
We welcome either. We welcome either. We'll see you next time.
Yep. All right.
Bye. If you like what you just heard, be sure to follow TMI Confessionals of the Nerd Kind on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, or whatever you listen to your podcasts on. Also, be sure to email us at tmipodcast2018@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on all of our socials. We're on Instagram, X, Facebook, Threads. Just go to tmiconfessionalspodcast.com. All of our links are there. And leave us a 5-star review. See you at the concession stand. By the way, don't use those purple leaves to wipe your butt, because it's not going to end well.
They have teeth, those purple leaves.
Everything there is looking to eat you.